evolution of silverware is nearly complete. Of course, many mutants didn't survive over the years. And once people realized I was doing studies on the evolution of the fork, they started sending me research, hoping to become famous, you know. People get desperate for fame in this field. This is a cutthroat business, okay? Somebody's were hoping for fame and fortune. They sent me an obvious fraud. This is a fork head on a spoon handle. I caught it right away. I said, no, I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. This is a fraud, okay? Of course, how the race has evolved is still a question we're studying. But look, arranging things in order doesn't prove a thing. You can arrange words in order, turn a cat to a cot to a dot to a dog, changing one letter at a time. It doesn't prove a cat and a dog are related. You can play around long enough, turn yourself into a fool with this, okay? They say dinosaurs turned to birds. Well, let's study the evidence. The Bible says God made the birds on the 5th day, and He made the reptiles on the 6th day, which is exactly backwards to what evolution says. God has birds first, then reptiles. Let's study the evidence. This guy says, dinosaurs alive as birds. Well, you're welcome to believe that, but that's absurd, okay? There's no evidence for that whatsoever. It's one of the lies I cover on video number 4 of my lies in the textbooks. Archaeoraptor, October 15th, 1999. Scientists unveil missing link of birds, dinosaurs. National Geographic, breaking news, missing link. Here's the picture he showed, November 99. He forgot to mention that 2 months later, it was admitted by everybody that it was a fraud. Archaeoraptor was disproven. It's not a missing link. The missing link is a fake. USA Today. From the remote province in China, an unusual dinosaur fossil made a mysterious journey from the hands of Chinese smugglers to the National Geographic Society. It's modern paleontology's greatest embarrassment. They found out it sprouted its remarkable tail not 120 million years ago, but only shortly after being smuggled out of China. It's the tale of a tale that has children believing in feathered dinosaurs that never existed. This one was added by an entrepreneurial Chinese farmer. It appears to have fooled another group of scientists as well as editors of the British journal Nature. Soers Olson, curator of birds at Smithsonian Institute, turned the spotlight on the whole mess. Those involved with the scientific gaffe agreed that Olson tried to warn officials at National Geographic in a letter sent November 1st, but they wouldn't listen. Both of the faked fossils were intended to support the theory that birds evolved from dinosaurs. Museums including Natural History in New York and also promote exhibits of dinosaur origin of birds. They say birds, Olson, he still believes in evolution, but he doesn't buy into the fossils that they're being shown. He said these have been discredited. He says it happened independently. He didn't know how it happened, but he still believes it happened, okay? There's a good article from ICR, my friends down in Southern California. Institute for Creation Research has an article just recently, March of 2000, about Archaeoraptor, if you want to get more on that. Here's Scientific American, March of 2003, still promoting the idea that there were feathered dinosaur feathers. Richard Plum and Alan Brush wrote this article. Which came first? All they have are illustrations designed to visually influence the reader. What we saw tonight was illustrations designed to visually influence you. This is not science, this is imagination, okay? So determined were Plum and Brush that they imagined they had put an end to the continuing debate among evolutionists regarding the origin of birds. We could read the whole article here. I've only got 10 minutes. It was nothing more than speculation devoid of any scientific evidence, but they're defended with furious blind fanaticism over the last few decades. Okay. Here's the things you need to consider. They call this Evo-Devo, evolutionary development. It assumes that the developmentary pathways of living things can shed light on their alleged evolutionary histories. Both these foundations are invalid. Alan Fiducia, North Carolina University Department of Biology, one of the world's most prominent authorities on the subject of the origin of birds, and he believes in evolution. Fiducia actually supports the theory of evolution and believes birds emerged through evolution. However, what distinguishes him from the dino bird supporters such as Plum and Brush is that he admits the uncertainty in which the theory of evolution finds itself on the matter. In considerable detail, Dr. Fiducia describes how the theory that birds evolved from dinosaurs, first proposed by Ostrom in the 70s and fiercely defended ever since, lacks any scientific proof, and how such an evolution is actually impossible. He said there's a considerable body of evidence that these fossil traces known as dino fuzz have nothing to do with bird feathers. What it is, apparently, is filaments of the fibers of the skin fraying and sticking out. Not bird feathers, not dino fuzz, okay? Having studied, Fiducia says, having studied most of the specimens said to sport proto-feathers, I and many others do not find any credible evidence that those structures represent proto-feathers. Many Chinese fossils have a strange halo of what has become known as dino fuzz, but although that material has been homologized with avian feathers, the arguments are far less than convincing. Following his analysis, Fiducia said, the dino fuzz appears in fossils that can absolutely have nothing to do with birds. This dino fuzz is skin fibers, very closely resembling dino fuzz. They've been discovered in Jurassic ichthyosaur. They've been described in detail in quite a few magazines here. This dino fuzz phenomenon, this little fringe around some of these fossils, is found on all sorts of things. All sorts of fossils have these. Fiducia recalls that similar structures have been found in the area of fossils in the past, but that the structures believed to belong to the fossils were later identified as inorganic matter. One is reminded of the famous fern-like markings on the, what's the name of that, Solnhofen fossils, known as dendrites. Despite their plant-like outlines, these features are now known to be inorganic structures caused by a solution of manganese, from which the beds precipitated as oxides along cracks or bones in their fossils. I have a huge collection of these in my museum. It looks just like ferns. Somebody sent me a bunch of them. And all it is, it's between the layers of the rock, it's this stuff soaking in, making a pattern of as capillary action draws it in between the cracks of the rock. That's what's happening that they're calling dino feathers. This has been proven wrong about 3 years ago. It's not correct, okay? Let's see. Well, I've got plenty of material on this on my website. The theropods that he mentioned here. One must also explain why all theropods and other dinosaurs discovered in other deposits where integument is preserved exhibit no dino fuzz. Why do the theropods from China have this dino fuzz, but other theropods found all around the world don't have it? They have intact skin. So the dino fuzz from the China ones is not dino fuzz. It's not proto-feathers. It's just simply a phenomena of how they fossilize, okay? This was proven wrong, and this was proven in 1999, okay? Fiducia explained some of the creatures put forward as feathered dinosaurs are extinct reptiles with dino fuzz, and others are real birds. There are clearly two different phenomena in the early Cretaceous deposits. We can talk all day on this one, but 2 minutes, okay. So when they tell you birds descended from dinosaurs, I would say the evidence is mostly disproven. What is disproven is certainly open to other interpretations. So kids, before you buy into this idea that dinosaurs turned to birds, I think you ought to really consider this from all perspectives and don't get swallowed up by this stuff. Scientists are always telling me, they'll say, well, the latest research says. I say, wait, I don't want to hear about your latest research. Your theory's been around for 120 years. What evidence do you have that has stood the test of time? They're always relying on the latest research. Well, it hasn't stood the test of time yet because it's always proven wrong later, okay? It's not dino fuzz. Somewhere along the line, that bird's going to have half wing, half feather. Now, he can't walk and he can't fly yet. What good is it, okay? Archaeopteryx is not a missing link. I'll stand by my guns. They're still teaching Archaeopteryx. It's a bird. And he mentioned tonight that Archaeopteryx is an avian dinosaur. Well, the experts that studied Archaeopteryx will tell you they disagree, okay? Archaeopteryx is a bird. It's 100% bird. Now, it does have a shallow breastbone. So does the Hoatzin. Archaeopteryx has claws on its wings. 12 birds today have claws on their wings, okay? It's not proof of anything. The Hoatzin has them, the ibis has them, the swan has them. 12 birds have claws on their wings. So what? It's not proof it's a missing link. They say Archaeopteryx had teeth in his beak. Well, very few birds have teeth. There's a hummingbird that has teeth from down near Ecuador, but very few birds have teeth. What does that prove? Some reptiles have teeth, some don't. Some mammals have teeth, some don't. Some of you have teeth, some don't, okay? Doesn't prove a thing, okay? Only 6 Archaeopteryx have been found. Only 1 has ever been